like the swells and people going surfing.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little bit fickle about surfing the beach and basically being a lazy bastard, not wanting to paddle through massive fucking white water to go and surf some big clean beaches. The places that I like to go, like, with the reefs, are very tide dependent.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've kind of almost like made subconscious excuses not to kind of go a little bit, which has been really annoying. But like you do that time after time after time, it kind of adds up.
Yeah, for sure.
So like we're halfway through the year now, and I've been surfing 8 times this year.
This will catch up on you, didn't it?
Well, I really want to go. I really want to get away on
do a surf trip.
On a surf trip. Yeah.
Nice.
My last one I went to the last proper surf trip was I went to Guam.
Okay.
In Micronesia.
Yeah.
And that was so. During the Second World War, you had the Battle of the Pacific. So you had like Midway and all those sorts of places. Okay. You ever heard of them?
Yeah, kind of.
Well, you think...
I found like Marshall Islands and stuff like that.
Yeah, so think Hawaii, think Japan. Halfway between Hawaii and Japan and the Pacific, you've got these little Micronesian islands.
Yeah.
And
it's hard to get to, aren't they?
Yeah. So the only way that you can get there really is you either had to fly from South Korea or you had to fly from Japan.
Okay.
So... We had like a naval fleet doing an exercise in the Pacific. Yeah. And I got asked by the Navy to go and out there with another mate of mine to do surf coaching.
Oh really? You turned it down?
No, not at all. So like
hate doing it in Staunton, but I'll come out there.
Oh yeah. But it was a 12 days or 2 weeks, and literally like we had one group per day, and the rest of the time we just went off around. The island isn't very big. I think the island itself is like 40 miles long.
Okay, nice. So you can basically do the whole thing so quickly.
So I took my mid-length and I took my short board with me. So we took a couple of boards each, thinking that being in the Pacific you'd be able to score some good waves. I think we surfed 3 days out of it, and it was on the opposite side of the island that we thought it was going to be on.
Okay,
it was like this really. It's called harbors.
Yeah.
So where Guam Harbor is on the west coast of it.
Yeah.
There's a really cool reef there called Pete's Reef. I'm digressing massively here, but it's on the back of a hotel. It's like a Hyatt hotel or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's weird as fuck. You look at this hotel from the outside, and it looks like a really rundown hotel.
Yeah.
But you walk into it, and it looks like the hotel's made for giants.
Oh, really?
You go into it. There's this massive like foyer made of marble. It's like 30 foot high. Everything's just massive. And you had to walk through it, go past the swimming pool, and there was like a zigzag wall that goes down to the reef. So we thought we'd be surfing that, but it wasn't. It was.
Never happened.
But we ended up scoring 4 foot, really nice glassy waves. And I tell you what, it is the one place that I've surfed where you take off on the wave, and as the wave starts to pitch up and roll down the point where you or roll down the reef where you're looking at it. It's like perspex.
Yeah, you see
water,
everything.
And you can see it all as you're going down. It's like crazy.
It puts you off.
No, it's like...
Really? It doesn't put you off. You can see the reef so clearly. It all looks shallower, doesn't it, when it's like that?
Yeah. But the thing is, it was shallow.
Yeah.
Like when you got to the end of it, it was very much like the... like knee deep.
Yeah.
It was really shallow, but...
Nice. So that's the place to go back to.
I'd like to, but it's not particularly likely, is it really? But
it's expensive to get out there, and
well, I didn't pay for any of it.
But if you were to get those to go to those islands, because they're mostly private, aren't they? Or they're difficult to get boats or whatever to.
Well, believe it or not, the island itself is a holiday destination for the South Koreans.
I see.
So there's loads of hotels and stuff. If you've ever been to like Magaluf or I don't know, like any sort of like mainstream Spanish town where the British have taken over.
Benidorm.
Benidorm, yeah. Yeah, a little bit like that. It's kind of a little bit like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's all set up like there's loads of like, because it's sort of like a US colony.
Yeah.
So it's all Americanized and stuff.
Yeah.
The one thing that I did take away from it is the food's really salty.
Okay.
Like they just like loads of salt in their food.
Flavors.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely did.
A lot of water needed.
Yeah, didn't lose any electrolytes when I was there. Put it that way.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, Guybridge, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I've been trying to get you for a couple of years now.
Sorry, I've been pretty useless on this, but yeah,
no, not at all.
We're here eventually, and I'm excited to chat to you.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go through a bunch of your accolades. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, because like I said, I chat GPT'd this shit.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever used it actually to like to research somebody.
Okay, I'm surprised I showed up, to be fair.
Well, do you want to know why, right? So whenever I do these podcasts, I always research people.
Yeah.
But there was just so much stuff about you and your family.
Yeah.
Like on the interweb.
That's the stuff, yeah.
That it's kind of like hard to break down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
So let's see if they got it right.
Yeah.
So you go silver medalist in the 2018 Kite World Championships.
Yeah.
And then it's got you were a silver medalist in, it says, what do you got here? Silver medalist in the Formula Kite European Championships in 2020. Is that right?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Then you did the British speed record with Red Bull, the Lighthouse to Leighton in 2018.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And you shaved 45 seconds from the previous course record.
That was a good one, that one. That was nice. It's good over there.
18 minutes, 49 seconds.
Yeah, that was a good day. It's very seaweedy, that spot.
Was it?
So with the because that was on a foil.
Okay.
So I don't know. Listeners have probably seen these people with bouncing around, but this was on like a relatively racy foil, like one that they do in the Olympics these days.
Okay.
So that was kind of the start of that sport. Around that kind of time and a bit before that, and yeah, it's pretty famous there for being loads of seaweed, and that with foils, that's pretty poor news when you hit that. But that day was a good day, and there wasn't too much, so the record was on, and it was good. Yeah, it's a good spot there for it. Yeah, keep going.
And then it's got, I'm going to read this word for word, all right? So it says, recognised foiler across disciplines, known for pushing limits in wing foil, surf foil, downwind SUP, and proudly riding with ASF foils. You're
Indeed.
also an NSIS, is that right?
Not anymore, no.
Oh, okay.
Old news.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
It's
all wrong, to be honest.
Fair enough. You are the son of Stephen Eric Bridge, and you've got brothers Ollie and Tom, and you're all in the same sort of element of like wind sports, kite surfing, foiling, surfing, all those sorts of things.
Yeah, we've all had the fortunate upbringing, to be involved with those sports. Yeah.
Did you get into kite surfing purely because of what your mum and dad did?
I'd probably say so, yeah. I mean, it's a relatively new sport. I mean, it's only been around since like 99, so it is still a new sport. And they probably learned around like 2003, kind of that time. And we were born a few years earlier than that. So when we got to, a decent-ish weight, it wasn't like it was forced upon us, I wouldn't say, but I guess just like our older brother Ollie, he learned, and then me and my younger brother Tom, we were just like, we don't really, obviously at that age you're just like whatever, and you just go for whatever you see you want to do, and that was the thing we all wanted to do at that time. And it was it's given us such an epic upbringing, and being in Exmouth, it's an epic spot for doing all the wind sports, really, isn't it? And so yeah, wouldn't have really changed that for anything, to be honest.
I have got, even though I surf and do jiu-jitsu, I did start kite surfing back in 2004.
Yeah.
I'm from Birmingham originally.
Yeah.
So my mum and dad live in a little town called Redditch.
Okay.
So they still live there now.
Yeah, I think I've been there before on a geography field trip.
What, to the needle museums?
I don't know. Yeah, you go and like when you're in Devon, you go and check out those kinds of, where there's different cultures and stuff. You need to. So there was a kind of trip to Birmingham, and you go through all those.
Well, weirdly, Redditch was renowned. This is really fucking boring, by the way. Wow, it might be interesting. A bit of culture for you. Redditch was renowned for its needle industry during the Industrial Revolution.
Okay. They didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
I went to the chocolate factory close by. But,
Cadbury's, yeah.
Yeah, I went to Cadbury's.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, they didn't take us to the needle factory there.
When in Birmingham, there was I've been sailing since I was a kid. My dad was into sailing and used to race Merlin rockets, just recreationally, not anything crazy.
Sure.
And then we went on holiday to Spain, like in the late 90s, and he got introduced into windsurfing. So, I got into windsurfing, and my mate kind of got introduced to it too, and we started doing a little bit of slalom racing and stuff.
Oh, great, yeah, nice.
So, I used to do a little bit of that. Bought a wave board, bought an F2 wave. That was probably like 98. I bought.
You've got some real wind sport pedigree then.
Well, a little bit. It kind of dies off when I join the Marines. So that's the only problem.
You go to doing sports that you really love.
Yeah, I mean,
on your spare time, when you get your spare time.
Yeah, I mean, I really did enjoy it, but I used to get really frustrated with it because, much like sport back in those days, there was no one that taught like technique.
Sure.
So like to teach you how to jibe, I used to watch like a Robbie Nash VHS video.
Yeah, there's no YouTube.
And watch what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then there's like, oh, right, we'll try that. So we'd go down to a lake and we'd try it and we'd fuck it up like a million times.
Yeah.
But I don't think I ever really kind of like clicked into it properly. And like with any wind sport, or it's like surfing, right? You're dictated by the swells, by the wind and all that sort of stuff. And it used to bite me in the ass because I didn't drive till
that's the problem, isn't it? You can't especially when you're based around here. If you don't drive, surfing becomes a bit of a pain in the ass. But getting down to like an estuary, if you're in Birmingham, it's just like,
or like a lake or something like that. It was really far and few between when I was able to go. So I think the skill level was pretty waning. But then in 2004, I'd bust my ACL playing rugby. I came up with this massive harebrained scheme of like this new sport called kitesurfing to come out.
Do that,
oh, fuck it, give it a go.
Yeah, for sure.
So I went to this like windsurfing shop up in Cannock in Birmingham called Boardwise.
I think it's still around.
Is it?
Yeah.
It was like on the outskirts of Cannock, but it was like this industrial place which had loads of windsurfing kit, and they'd started to bring some kite surfing kit. And so I had a bit of money left over from Afghan. I thought, fuck it, I'll go buy some kite surfing kit.
Yeah, nice.
Didn't know anything about it. I bought a 12-meter kite, and they gave me this. It was basically, all the boards were back then, but it was like a wakeboard, right?
Yeah.
And
huge was it, or was it quite small?
No, it's quite thin.
Okay.
It was quite thin. Okay. But again, I didn't know anything about the kit.
Nice.
And so I set that up, and it didn't have any of the safety systems I could imagine that kiting has these days.
That was always the problem back in the day.
Well, that's where the problem started. Was I went down to Whitsands when I was based down in Plymouth. I took my kite surfing kit down there, and one day I went down, and I could just about get up and sort of like go left, go right, but it was like stop, turn round. Like we were talking about, like people learning.
Yeah,
like they stop, turn, go stop, turn, and they haven't learned how to jibe or tackle, whatever it is yet. And I was down at Whitsands, and this massive gust came, and basically hit the kite as I pulled the power bar down, and it pulled me up like super high. But where the cliffs are, it was high tide, so like it pulled me 3/4 of the way up the cliffs at Whitsands, and I was like, "Fucking hell, this is like." I went really high, and I didn't know how to land or anything like that. So as
was that from the water or was that on the beach?
So it picked me up from the water, but the wind direction, because it had gusted, it was cross shore.
Okay.
So, but the gust had took me back inland a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
And as I came back down, I landed in like probably 6 inches of water and nearly blew out my knees. And I was like, nah, it's not worth it. And that was the last of my kite surfing journey.
Oh, that's a shame, yeah, because the safety's coming along so much. But yeah, I heard back in the day, it was just like you had no releases, and those kites had no D power as well, which was the main problem. These days, you let the bar go and the kite kind of flails down to one side, but then it was just full power in there. So
I think there was two. I mean, I don't know any of the terminology to this. I think there was two sort of like, you got like the safety cords that you pull, like on different parts of the rig.
Yeah, I hear.
One was on the harness line.
Yeah.
And the other one was, so it had 4 lines on it. It didn't have 2. It was just above the power bar. You pulled it and they let the kite go.
Okay.
But that was it. There was only 2 of them on there.
Yeah.
And that really didn't do anything.
And they were all probably seized.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Because I didn't know how to tie the fucking knots properly or anything like that. It's just like, yeah, just do it.
It's I feel like it's always a thing when you're like newcomers to any sport and the sport's so developing, but it's so early and it's kind of, especially with kites and stuff, where they're actually got so much power, where it can all kind of go tits up pretty quick, as you found out. Development stages of sports is just kind of like that, and yeah, you'll have to come back and do it again.
Do you know what? I have been meaning to do it, especially now. Now the wing foil and stuff has come.
Yeah, the wing foiling is great. Like, yeah, with other shop, we're just like pushing people more onto that side, because everyone sees the kiting and just like, it's more of like a wow factor. I think the kiting, people are just like, wow, I've got to do that. That looks insane. You see these kites in the air, people jumping and stuff. But in reality, I think the winging just kind of brings it to a more broader audience, really, just in terms of like, it's safer. Well, it's kind of safe, but you've also kind of got the foil as well. So it looks kind of safe, but it can obviously go tits up when you headbutt the foil. But in general, it's a lot slower, the lift, and you don't have so much power. Like, you can actually have a sit down when you're out there and chat to someone, whereas a kite, you're locked in all the time, and it's kind of it's a mind of its own if you're not quite in touch with that.
Well, the other thing for me as well is that I got as you've seen in the room in the back, I got 1 million geese.
Yeah,
I've got probably about 10 surfboards at home that I probably only use 2 of. A fuckload of wetsuits as well. I did have a 14-foot kayak, once upon a time.
Downwind type style for one.
Yeah, maybe.
14 foot sounds huge for a kayak.
Well, it was one of those Hobie ones.
Okay.
I think it eventually was like it was like one of those Hobie fishing ones. It had the little things in it.
Yeah, nice.
And you could had like the penguin paddle.
Okay. Yeah.
So what you could do is you could push the pedals forward and back, and it had like a little penguin wings, and they used to hook to the bottom of the keel of the boat. So when you paddled it, it kind of pushed it like a pedaler.
Yeah, nice.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up selling that just because it was just
too much space up.
Well, it was just sat in my back garden doing nothing. So it's just adding to another sport.
That's the thing. If you got to use all this gear, isn't it? Especially when you use it yourself, you got your family and stuff. You need to have everything that has a purpose, and you've got the time to use that. But yeah, for around here, you'll have to do a wind, like the wind sports round in Exmouth is pretty ideal, because you can just, we don't get loads of swell here, do we? We're so shut off on that. We're an hour and a half from a beach, so to just quickly go on the water here, it's just like, it's nice, you can get out like most days, especially these days with all the foiling sports.
But I did think about start doing surf foiling, especially seeing you guys.
It's nice.
I walk past sometimes or drive past and see you guys out, see your social media stuff. You're doing a lot of downwinders and all that sort of cool stuff.
Yeah, the surf foiling is great, especially if you've got like a surf background. I mean, it's definitely catching on a lot in Cornwall. Like the few times I've been down there, at Crantock and stuff like that, it's like pretty big there. In those kind of like fat river waves, it's really epic, to be fair, because you can just take off, and you've got like, even though it's a fat wave, you've just got so much speed, and then you can ride it for like 100 meters or 200 or pump back out. It's just like endless kind of ride in general.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, would
you go there to do that?
Would I go there to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason why I thought about doing it around here is purely for the fact that because of the tide that comes out of the estuary, and we do get a lot of like little swell waves that come through, and sometimes during the winter, the swell is pretty decent.
Yeah, it's pretty decent, but just like short period, and the banks are tricky. It kind of sucks the energy half the time.
Yeah, so doing a bit of kite surfing, kite foiling, would kind of just like itch that scratch, like, what I mean? No. Scratch that itch that scratch.
Scratch the itch, yeah.
That one.
Something like that.
Yeah. But how did you sort of like get into the surf foiling? Was it through kite surfing?
Yeah, through kiting and then kite foiling, and then the surf foil. Yeah, I guess it's kind of been around for a little bit, and then it kind of all come out, and I just saw it. You know how you do, you just see it. But knowing that I had a little bit of foiling experience made me want to go and do that, because I obviously love my kite foiling, and then just saw like that as a great possibility to do in waves, which is pretty mega. And yeah, and from being around here, we kind of found that it was a really epic foiling wave in Exmouth. Like the sandbars, we get this nice easterly. That, when they get those easterly, that short period swell is actually great fun. It's like it turns like average conditions into loads of fun. So that was kind of where it all started, really.
I look at Exmouth sometimes, especially down at Orcombe Point, and I just think this has got so much promise to be an epic sandbar, almost kind of like a Kira-esque or Snapper Rocks-esque right-hander because of the sandbar there, but because of the estuary. And I always want to like get a laser beam and cut like a line all the way down through Dartmouth and Kingsbridge and get rid of that land.
I know. We'd get some of those southerly swells. It's just like, we're so just not like set up to get swell, which is unfortunate, because like you say, you just look at like Orcombe, look at Orcombe Point, and then you look at like Mare Rocks. It's just like there should be some sick waves around here, but it's never quite lines up, unfortunately. But
I don't know. I have surfed around the corner from the range from time to time.
Yeah, Altus Cove's good, isn't it?
And
the secret spot that we all get shouted at. Yeah,
you can't go down there anymore.
Yeah, I know, it's a bit of a nightmare. We just went through like a spell. Well, when we were going down there a couple of years ago, we just went for a spell of just people just like having a go at you, just like because they'd be shooting, but I don't. Well, they're obviously like shooting somewhere there, but then like the Sandy Bay people have a go at you because you're kind of like you've gone through their land, so they get all funny because they're getting shit from the firing range, and it's just like. It's just a lot of hassle just to go. You just want to catch a few waves because it is like one of the better surf spots in Exmouth, and it only it works when it's stormy. It's out of the wind. So, but yeah, it's just annoying. And as you say, it's just like it's a lot of admin, but it's a sick wave.
Well, I lived here since 2007, like I mentioned before, and last year was the first time I've ever surfed it.
Okay, nice.
It was a bit of an epic to get down there because a couple of my students here. Surf, and they then mentioned about it.
Yeah,
and they'd been down with some chainsaws like at night time.
They've been doing the graft
and like cut their way down because the park had got the groundsman to cut all their thorn bushes down and throw it over the fence and like put it down there so you couldn't go down there anymore. But there was like a little like tricky kind of thorny pathway down there. So
the boggy, thorny.
Yeah, wellies and ripstop trousers and stuff like that.
Yeah, you really don't want a wet. Yeah, you always destroy a wetsuit, or there's always that last bit's pretty sketchy going down the rope as well. Especially because you always go there after a huge it's been a big storm. It's raining like hell. It's like a waterfall coming down there, and you're going down these like slippy orange cliffs.
You just got married.
Just got married, yeah.
How you finding that?
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it was a real fun day, and yeah, it's epic. Yeah, married life's good. It's treating us all well.
You did a pre-honeymoon. I read earlier today. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess half. Yeah, we lived a good winter, which was epic. We spent a lot of time in Western Australia. So yeah, we've not done that much of once you've been there for a month we spent like basically 2 months there this winter. You don't really need to go away in the UK summer, where there's no point leaving the UK when it's as nice as it has been. So yeah, did an epic trip over the winter to Western Australia, which was so fun. We did like the wind just blows there so consistently. They get this wind called the Perth Doctor, which is just kind of like this sea breeze, which basically blows the whole winter. It's like 20 to 25 knots, and it's kind of so it blows directly down the coast the whole way. So it's all side shore. So for the downwind and stuff, my partner Emma, she's just been learning that, and she really picked it up there, which was epic. And yeah, it's such a good spot for everything we kind of like to do, and it just kind of like enhances. And we came back here, and we're just like, fuck, what are we doing? This is like, when you come back, you've been in Australia over like December, January, and you come back to Exmouth in February, and it's like you hardly see the sun. It was minging. We'll be like, oh, it'd be sick to, you feel like you're always on the wrong side, but then you get to now, and it's like beautiful, isn't it?
It is. But I went to one of the shops yesterday actually, and I went into there, and the bloke in the shop he goes, oh, you're enjoying the weather, and I was like, yeah, but I enjoy the weather all the time.
Yeah,
it's like, people moan about the weather, whether it's hot, where they moan whether it's cold.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when it's cold, they're like, oh, I can't wait for the sun to come out, and the sun comes out, and they're like, oh, it's too hot, and you're like, fucking hell, make your mind up.
That's just like classic UK. Just everyone chats about the weather, don't they? But yeah, it's nice when you have to wear so much rubber. I think that's the main thing. I'm
going to throw out a ChatGPT question for you as well. Do you find that the water sports that you take part in, whether it's foiling, kiting, or wing foiling, helps you deal with that cliche word that's out there at the moment, mental health? Do you think it influences it a little bit, or do you just do it because it's fun anyway?
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like once you've done water sports, like we all have, I feel like you just want to do it more, don't you? Really, I feel like that's always the kind of chase of doing more and more, and doing these other sports just enables me to get in the water a lot more. So, which I guess breeds good mental health. I feel like kind of like once you haven't been in for a week or so, and you've been thinking about it, you just kind of like, oh shit, I've kind of missed that. You kind of you miss that kind of endorphins that you can kind of create from doing all these fun sports. And the mental health side is a tricky one. It's a difficult one to say, because I guess from living this whole water sports life from young, I've not really had been away from it. I feel like you'd have to go away from it for a long time to then come back to it and see if you are affected. But I imagine just like, how it is, like when it gets to the winter and you might not spend as much days in the water, and you for sure suffer. You just like, what, we want to get back in,
I find it's more of an addiction more than anything, though, because even now, I haven't been. I don't even want to say it. I haven't been surfing since April, maybe the end of April.
Yeah,
is that I'm always every single day I'm checking the forecast.
Yeah,
and seeing when the next swell's coming through. I don't even know why I bother looking at it through the winter, really. Through the summer, because
it's not.
There's no really decent low pressures that come through, and anything that does come through is just like wind swell, really. Anyway,
that's why you need to get into foiling. Well, there was a big swell last week, though, wasn't there? There was like a 15-second period swell, which was pretty irregular.
I don't think it really. Think it really hit the coast like it was supposed to, though. It was. I was looking at it, and I think there might have been like 1 or 2 days, maybe, where it was like okay.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time.
But it's difficult, and
it is. It's quite challenging, especially if it is kind of like a passion.
Yeah, for sure.
And I also think as well that you do look forward to it.
Yeah.
I can't.
I love looking at the forecast. I think that's like almost a great thing about the UK is like you've got like that constantly changing forecast, and like to actually score epic days it doesn't come around like that often when it's epic. You know how it is. It's just like you kind of wait for those days, and like you just biting to get out there on those good days, and it's like kind of exciting. Whereas like when you're in like good places all the time, it's kind of like whatever, and so it keeps you kind of motivated. I think just kind of like because it's not always good.
Do you ever just purely surf? Because I know I've been out in Exmouth when you've got those odd days that are not too bad, and your mum's been out there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I do. Yeah, I surf a bit in Cornwall. I wouldn't say I was surfing in Exmouth just because like it's off.
Nah, shit.
Yeah, but when it's big in Cornwall, I'll surf. And it's actually just so fun, isn't it? It's quite different to foiling, where you're just like, where when you're foiling, you really feel the speed from being in the section, which is similar to surfing, except for you're like you need it enhanced if you know it was surfing. Like if you're not in the section, you're like losing so much speed, whereas the foil you have got glide. So, but it is nice being connected to the water as well, like to actually feel like the bumps and stuff. You kind of don't. It's quite nice, like occasionally to feel like the different forces and stuff. But it's quite different. Like when you go foiling, it goes a lot onto your front foot because you're basically just controlling the lift of the foil. So you end up pushing it down a lot more, whereas surfing is obviously quite back foot heavy.
Yeah, because you generate the foil generates the lift, like a plane, and the engine's on the back. I'm just going off. I don't actually know because I've not done it, obviously, but
yeah,
it kind of like lifts the nose up, so you'd have to push the nose down. But then, in a way, it'd be like surf skating, right, where you have to kind of like go from rail to rail, to generate that speed. Where like I guess with foiling, you're kind of like
up and down,
pumping them up and down to generate forward momentum as you go.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the waves and the wind swells and stuff, they create the speed, which gives the foil the lift. The front foil creates the lift. The back foil just gives you stability. And then the pumping kind of lets you go through flat sections, basically. I'm not really sure about the science, but kind of as you pump, you can kind of keep your speed, basically, which is pretty tight. Yeah, it is quite physically challenging though, but it kind of like, it gives like a nice workout. Like it means that you can go out and actually have a workout, whereas a lot of like the kiting and stuff we used to do, you were basically just sitting in a harness. So it's actually quite nice to be able to actually go and like feel like you're a bit more physically demanded.
I think the first time I ever saw any form of foiling was I was watching a film called Stepping into Liquid with it was about big wave surfing, and Laird Hamilton was out. I think he was out in Chopu, maybe.
Yeah, or Jaws. He's definitely done some.
Didn't he come up with the idea of foiling anyway?
Yeah, he's invented a lot, hasn't he? So do you see that thing on Stab in the Dark that they did the other day?
Oh no, I haven't seen any of that stuff.
He just like the how surfers get paid or whatever, and it was quite interesting actually, just to see how his relationship with these sports and with other surfers. But yeah, he's invited. I think he's definitely invented like the stand-up paddleboard, didn't he? And I guess he did that foiling back in the day on those huge waves, strapped in with boots on the board, which was pretty gnarly. Yeah.
Well, he had ski bindings, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was ski bindings, and then I can't remember what they basically bolted the foil through the bottom of a board. I think it was. Yeah,
it's pretty loose, all that stuff.
Yeah,
but pretty cool to see that be pushed so long ago. Like foils aren't a new thing, and obviously it's been around for a while. And if you kind of see what he was doing back in the day with it, it's like, wow, that's kind of mind blowing for that. And the technology's not really gone on very much. I mean, we're not booted in anymore, thankfully.
Yeah.
That would add a bit of extra spice to
some snapped shins, that's for sure.
Some snapped shins.
Oh yeah, and some definite knee damage.
Yeah,
it's got ACL surgery written all over it. That, hasn't it? Do you still compete?
I don't really compete too much anymore. I kind of stopped the kite racing a couple years back. The kite when it went Olympic, I kind of did the cycle for 2024 until 2023, where another guy got selected over me. He did slightly better in the trials. So, but I was kind of all right with that. I was coming towards. It got really serious, and we kind of did it for fun a lot of the time. And then when it goes Olympic, and you got all the national governing bodies like surrounded it, and it's just like a bit of a different ball game to the fun you've kind of inherently done it for. So it was I would have loved to go to the Olympics. It would have been super sick to be there, and because I put a lot of work in to try and get there. But when I didn't quite make it, I was just like, oh, I'll give it a break. It was a lot of money as well. It's very expensive. It's super expensive to try and do those kites, and all that gear's like super high tech and expensive stuff. So it kind of didn't make sense for me, like, yeah, personally. Or I kind of was like, oh, I want to have fun with these disciplines a little bit more. Whereas that, it kind of like you do the same thing. You're going around a race course, so it's quite it's fractions when it comes down to it. And I was kind of just done that for probably 10 years at that point. So it's cool to kind of go into other stuff and have fun, especially with the whole downwind foiling that's come around, and all the other foiling disciplines, which is just kind of like growing constantly, which is super cool. And it's been really fun to kind of explore those. Well, yeah, when I'm still kind of able.
Do you feel that you can be a little bit more expressive now because you're not kind of competing? You're now in like the elements of where competitive surfing back in the day was like how you got paid as a surfer.
Yeah.
And now you've kind of been not released yourself from it, because I could imagine there'd have been like a line in the sand where you kind of like, well, if I do this, I'm going to continue doing it.
Yeah.
But if I can't, then does it really matter?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it comes down to, really. It's like, it's not going to be the be and or end all, and then it's going to open up other doors for us to do different things. And so it's been super fun to be able to kind of express yourself through these other sports, which are more expression based. I feel like being sort of like, once you get into those kind of like you as you know, like once you're in like the highest level of a sport, it gets you get into like quite a box mentality, I'd say, where you're kind of stuck in like four walls of just like you need to be at a level, and you need to boost that level all the time, or else you're going to be left behind. But you're basically not doing anything new. It's basically just improving what you've done for a while. So yeah, it's been really cool to branch out and do other stuff.
Has there been a point like during your career of foiling and kiting where you've just gone, or something's happened and you've gone, nah, I don't want to do this anymore? Has there been a moment where you've been like
I
that?
don't think so. I mean, with the racing, I kind of got to the point where it was just felt like a bit of a waste of wasting my time kind of thing. Like if I wasn't, because I've been winning and I've been doing really well, and then when I was like, coming 10th or something like that, it was kind of like, it doesn't quite do it enough for me, and I'm not improving as much as I'd like to be. So yeah, it's kind of those points where you're just like, and you're giving so much, you're training like every day, you're going to these events, you're like taking it all super serious, and then if it's not giving you the comebacks, it's just like, maybe we need to go do other things. Yeah.
From a competitive perspective, is there any, you see a lot of sports people have kind of their traditions that they do before they do something, before they compete. Did you ever have a kind of like a tradition, or something that you specifically did to like build yourself up to compete in before you went out?
Not really, to be honest. I didn't really have any. It was all kind of. I was all quite freestyle, to be honest. I was quite like I didn't really, particularly have any like superstitions or whatever. It was all kind of seat of the pants, just kind of rock up and try and do what we can. And if it's good, it's good. And if it's not, Oh well, we'll go again.
Did you do any like specific training for it? So did you work on? Did you like primarily work on certain tricks or something like that, or angles of like getting the maximum out of your kiting kit? Or
Yeah, a lot with the racing stuff. I mean, the freestyle stuff we did when we were younger, and that was we were just kind of like progressing, and it was just like we were just doing it for fun and doing youth events. Which came pretty well. And then the racing stuff, when that got really serious, there was definitely like you tune all your kit like perfectly. So like the kites have like these loads of bridles, which would basically give the kite its structure, and they all go out of tune all the time. So keeping that, you need to basically measure like all these different lines with like a laser measure, and you need to tune them because they all stretch and shrink at different points. So keeping like your gear in check, your foil well sanded, and like well finished, because like you're obviously going through the water really quickly. So like if you've got any imperfections on it, it just wouldn't fly how it should do, and you wouldn't be able to push it as well as you could do. So that was a huge thing. And then like body wise, the racing was so like leg orientated. Because you're basically squatting the whole for like an hour or so. So it was like I was never a big gym guy, to be honest. So I never really got involved too much with that. But when it went Olympic, I definitely did do a bit more, and it was that and more stretching and stuff. I got super tight, like my hamstrings like took absolute killing. So I was super stiff. So actually like trying to do stretching, even though I was so shit at like. There's like no one really wants to stretch for a long period of time. So I was never that good at stretching, but that was always a big thing. And yeah, I probably should have done more time in the gym. Like, a lot of the guys who I was racing with, it was basically you need to be. When I had it, the kites were so big. Like the biggest kite was a 23-meter square kite, which is huge kite. And the bigger dudes tend to do better because they could put more load against the kite, because they'd use that up to like 13 knots or something, which is like super powerful. But if you couldn't quite put the loading against it, you kind of, in those kind of conditions, you struggled. So there was definitely advantages there, and I wasn't quite heavy enough. Like a lot of the big guys were like 105 kilos, and they were quite a lot. They were just faster. Just like there was always the saying, "Fat is fast." And that's kind of what it ended up being like in that Olympics. Like the guy who won the gold at the Olympics, he was just a bit bigger than the rest of them. So they basically, when you go to these kite events, you get to register like 4 kites, but they have to be in specific group like spacings apart. So like you could register a 23, and then your next kite would be a 15. So there's quite a big gap, but so the dude who ended up winning it was about 13 knots or something on the last day, and he could hold on to the big kite, and the other guys couldn't quite hold on to the big kite, so they ended up sizing down. But the bigger dude kind of hold on and was able to win it, and that was kind of like the turning point, and that was kind of what it came down to a lot in the racing.
How did you find the progression of kite surfing and just in general through wind sports? Because I remember when I was windsurfing, like every single 6 months or every year, there'd be like an upgrade or a new material or something like that would make it a little bit better. And from kind of like an average user perspective as well, they were quite expensive.
The kites are all mega expensive, and they still are super expensive. I mean, back in the day, they were probably cheaper than what they are now. It's like ludicrous, the price of kites these days. I'd probably say the development of that gear has really slowed down, if I'm going to be honest. There's new kind of materials, but the basics have really slowed down in the kite scene, especially with like the day-to-day kite surfer. It's all kind of like you could have a 10-year kite and it would still work very similar to a kite you could buy now. There's new materials which have just boosted the price, but which is important for like a very specific number of kite surfers, like the people at the top level of the big air scene or something like that. They might make a difference out of this like this material that's like double the price, but for every day-to-day kite surfers, there's no real need. So yeah, it's definitely good. It's definitely an expensive sport. It's not skateboarding, unfortunately. But yeah, the second-hand market is there as well. But it's always a tricky one with kites, because you are obviously putting your life with it, like paragliding or whatever.
That was one of the other things that kind of put me off a little bit, was the price margin of stuff, because, like I say, surfboards and stuff, like anything within the water sports industry now is quite expensive.
Yeah, so it's expensive.
If I bought an off the shelf board, you're probably looking at £600-700.
Yeah.
But with like, take wing foiling for instance, you've got the kite itself, you've then got the board, you've then got the foil itself, and all those things are round. Like,
we used to always say, like, it's always, you'd often spend £1,000 on each section of those bits of gear. It's gone down now. Like, you can get packages for £1,500 for the whole thing, but yeah, it's still, it's not it's not surfing or anything. Yeah, still expensive sport. Yeah,
but I think that's the thing, though, isn't it? It's like, if you're involved in a sport where the evolution of it is not like super fast paced like it was back when I was windsurfing, and it slowed down a little bit, then I mean, you're always going to get that element of like, Kelly Slater's riding that LFT.
Yeah,
I'm going to buy that because it's going to make me surf like Kelly Slater. No, it's not. Kelly Slater surfs like that because he's fucking professional.
Yeah, and
is an absolute legend, and he can surf like that. Just because he's riding that gear doesn't mean that you're going to be able to surf it when you ride it.
Yeah.
So there's an element of that as well. But I think if it has kind of slowed down a little bit, it's probably going to encourage people to get longevity out of their kit as well.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we definitely see that in the sports these days. Everything just lasts so much longer, and people are using it. I don't know. Like, I feel like in the local area, I don't know if people kite as much as maybe they used to. People like lives get in the way. You need to be going quite often to kind of keep your mojo. So yeah.
What would be the ideal setup for, round Exmouth? Like, what would be the ideal, like, kiting setup or wing setup? What would you be looking at, do you reckon?
Probably like a 12-meter kite for the summer, just depending on your season, because we're so seasonal here, aren't we? Like, in the summer, it doesn't really get much above 20 knots, so a 12-meter kind of suits that pretty well. For the winter, probably a 9 is pretty good because it's either super strong or a bit lighter. So people often need 2 kites ready for the kite surfing. And the wing wise, just depending on your weight and stuff, really. But yeah, a good size limits are like 5 and a 3.5, or a 5.5 and a 4. They kind of can like, you can get a load of wind strengths out of those too.
Who are you the people that you look up to? So have you got any idols or anything like that you kind of like look at while you're doing stuff?
I've probably say, my brothers. I always looked up to them, to be fair, on what they've done. Especially like growing up doing all this stuff together. That was always the big thing. They're still doing great, and I guess kitesurfing wise, another UK hero, Aaron Hadlow. It definitely have to be up there. And then, I'd say that's probably, and I guess like all my friends in the kind of industry, so always really inspiring.
How would you navigate kind of burnout? So, I had a bit of burnout in surfing, a while back, because I was running the podcast.
Yeah.
I was in the water all the time. Everything I did was kind of orientating around it. So the same with jiu-jitsu as well. Like, every single day I'm teaching, I'm coaching, every day I'm training as well. There are elements like sometimes where I come in and it's just like,
not again. I guess just trying to do all these different sports really helps me, because it's all a little bit different and all has its own technicalities, like from the kite surfing, and then the free foiling aspects of like wing foiling, downwind foiling, surf foiling. They're all quite different. and they're all on their own separate day. And then I guess, not having all the time. Like I work in the shop a few days a week in Exmouth, in our water sports shop in Exmouth, a few days a week. So like my time's a bit more limited. I feel like when you're a bit more limited on your time, you really make the most of it when you have got some time, and you like real frothy because you've looked at the forecast all week and you're like, oh, these are the days I want to get off, and then you try and line it up, and then you try and see where you want to go and do these sports, and then so that kind of keeps it fresh. And I think doing the different sports really helps me to kind of keep everything fun, because I don't think I'd be good at doing one sport. I think that was always the thing with just kite surfing and stuff like that. It was just like I loved it, but you could only do it at a certain time, because you normally go around low tide in Exmouth, and so if you work you really couldn't score very good conditions. Bring the foiling and all the different aspects of foiling. Like we could do these fun downwinders locally from like Exmouth to Sidmouth or vice versa the other way, and it's pretty cool to do these sports locally, and it's all kind of like uncharted a little bit because no one's really done this like downwind foiling or anything, because that's even newer around here. So like it's quite fun to like find new places to do things. Like it's like, finding spots again in surfing, but you're just finding spots to go downhill for miles, and like when it all comes together, it's like epic rides, and you're like, wow, that's like mind-blowingly good conditions. And you see the place from like a different perspective. When you're out at sea, you're like, wow, this is actually a sick place that we live. You see these huge like cliffs, and you go past these like different sites and stuff, and you're like, wow, this is actually crazy. You've not got any motor, you're just under your own steam out there basically, which is really cool. Yeah,
I've done very much a similar thing. I've been sat there, in the ocean and looking back and going, fucking hell, this is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I've traveled. When I was a little bit younger, I traveled around the world quite a lot. Australia, Indo, Java, Indian Ocean, places like surfing quite a lot. And don't get me wrong, those places are super scenic. Yeah. But some of the reefy or like more secluded locations, sometimes you can find yourself, on your own on those lucky days, and you can turn around and go, "Fuck me, this is pretty cool."
This is home, isn't it? Yeah, you're just like, "Wow, this is where we actually live."
I think Exmouth is quite a unique place as well, because I had a conversation with a guy called Jason Allen, who is one of a handful of coral belts in judo, like in the country.
Yeah.
And he lives in Exeter, but is originally from Exmouth.
Okay, great.
And he was just saying, like, the amount of actual high-level performance of sporting people that live in Exmouth is pretty insane. I mean, you've got your mum, you've got your brothers.
So there's big sailing. There's a few sailors that have, plenty of sailors that have gone to the games and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's like tennis players. There's triathletes, ultra triathletes that live around the local area.
Yeah, running athletes. Yeah.
So there's just such a plethora of lots of different performance athletes that live in the small place, which I don't actually think like a lot of the local community know about, because it's a very British thing not to kind of fly the flag of say, oh, look at us, we're doing this, or we've done this, like, And I always remember driving down Deanham Way. There used to be a house with like a little statue of like the Olympic signs statue at the front of the house. And I always used to think, who was there? It'd be pretty cool. I never even found out.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I mean.
Exactly.
Like,
We're definitely in a pretty cool town for performance, especially in the sport. Yeah, sports is pretty mental, really, when you say it like that. But yeah, it's the place to be in Exmouth.
Well, your family's set up a pretty cool thing as well. You've got Edge Water Sports, which is based down on the seafront of Exmouth, and you've got a coffee house down there, Hang Time. Yeah,
Ollie and his partner Meg run that. So yeah, that's really cool, and it's good to get the caffeine boost.
Yeah, exactly. And I think just having that down there as well, because I know you teach and coach, and how do you find How do you find all of that, living in the local area, doing the thing you enjoy doing, but also kind of teaching it as well and putting that stoke back towards people?
Yeah, I think it's pretty rewarding, to be honest. Especially when you see that, like, when people have just got into it and the amount of froth they get off learning something new, it's pretty like it's pretty cool to like actually just see like the grassroots of these sports really get like people love it. You know, when people, you know how it is when you're teaching anyone and they actually love it, you get a good buzz out of it, I think. So I think that area is super cool, and it's nice to give back to kind of the area and see more people on the water, and yeah, and it's such a good. We live in such a special place for it that it's like it's cool that people are thinking about getting into it, because it's just like you don't really want to, like, it's such a good place for it that you might as well do it if you're thinking about doing it.
Mate, we've been going nearly an hour. I'd like to finish on a little bit of a quick fire round.
Okay, do it.
All right. So, if you had to settle for one of the water sports you do for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. It would, yeah. Are we talking like it would be a foiling sport? I would say.
So you have to choose between just foil surfing.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'd probably say the downwind foiling, especially at the moment. One
place to sail, surf, or do something for the rest of your life.
I want to go to Fiji. I want to go to that. I want to go to Cloudwreck and that, like around there. I think that looks like a pretty epic place for everything.
Coffee or tea?
I'm a morning tea man and 11 o'clock coffee man.
Not an after 3 o'clock coffee.
I'm not an after 3. Unless I'm knackered and I have to do something in the evening.
Reefs or beach?
Oh, well, I don't surf as many reefs as you. I feel like when I go to Cornwall, I surf a lot more beach breaks. So I'd probably just go with beach breaks.
Fair enough. Kite or wing?
Kite or wing. I'd probably say kite.
Foil or regular board?
Foil.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having you down and chatting to you eventually.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Hans. It's
been
a good chat.
Yeah, and good luck on all your other endeavours that you eventually do. And hopefully we'll speak again maybe on this in the year or so.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Little catch up.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Hans.
And that's it. If you like the podcast, please like, share and subscribe on your podcast provider, and also leave us a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks for listening.